What's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, Leo King, and this is my show, Uncut Astrology, where I take off the mask or go deep behind the veil and give you this week's astrological forecast for the week of October the 26th through November the 1st of 2016. Remember to say rabbit rabbit on November 1st next week. And are you on the Leo King app? Make sure that you join the Leo King app where you can get my daily horoscopes every day. This horoscope, remember, is moving to the Leo King app in a couple weeks. Will not be on YouTube anymore, so make sure that you get on the app and check that out, the leokingapp.com. And have you streamed my movie, Hope in the Desert, which is called ageofdeceptionmovie.com. You can stream it there, where I did my whole presentation. It's a 4-hour movie going into the whole deception of what's going on, and especially with what's going on right now in the universe. I think you might want to watch it. And remember, if you share this video, boom, I send out snail mail, a reading on the back of this to one person a week from anybody who shares on my Facebook. I pick a winner every week. And this one has my footprint on it, because I was trying to keep this thing together in the middle of flying into the harbor here. So there is a lot happening this week, and I'm going to just say this. I'm just going to say this. Are you ready for change? Are you ready to make change in your life? Are you ready to let go of attachments that maybe you're not ready to? Are you ready to ascend? That's what this week's all about on a very simple scale. I'm going to be very direct because I don't have a lot of time with the sunlight. This week, we still got the sun in Scorpio, remember, it just entered, and we got Mercury conjunct Scorpio. This is a very powerful knowing deep inside of yourself, a powerful change you need to make. All at the same time, Mars is going to square Uranus this week, and it's going to make a sextile to Chiron. This means that Mars, where it's exalted in Capricorn, has reached the third decan of Capricorn, which means there's 3 decans, there's 3 steps, and these are the final, more master, high-end degrees of Capricorn, and it's squaring Uranus at this degrees. We have to ascend, and we've got to ascend by courage and by doing things that are tough. And unfortunately, the ones that make it right now are the ones that make tough decisions. Yes, there are connections. Yes, there are attachments. There are cords we have to people, relationships, and projects. This is a week where Venus is going to conjunct Saturn, which means these are not easy decisions about projects, about relationships, especially when it's in Sagittarius and wants everything to be positive. The positive is by closing a door to open a new one, especially when you're dealing with a big T-square this week with a dark moon in Libra, which is going to happen on Thursday, Friday. You've got to realize that this is about attachments, this is about ascending to a new place in your life, and to do it gracefully is not going to be easy, but you can do it. You can do it with realizing that, you know, you've got to do things in life to get where you got to go. You can't have cords or attachments to places in your life anymore that just aren't going anywhere. And this is so important because, folks, Mars is going to leave Capricorn in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, okay? And when it does, right after the election, Mars goes into Aquarius, where it breaks free, and when we go into some exciting places, then it goes to Pisces, where it's really weak. Then it will come into Aries, where it's like new starts and beginnings. But the next couple years, the decisions you make right now are so imperative to breaking free, to ascend to where you want to go, to get the life that you really want to make. And this weekend is a new moon in Scorpio. It's all coming towards this weekend, folks, where Mars finishes its square to Uranus. It also is sextiling Chiron, which means the past and maybe some sort of loss or some sort of, you know, leaving the past and learning from the past and moving forward is part of all this as well. This is also Jupiter, which has now reached 10 degrees, and Jupiter now is in the same, you know, decan as Pluto. So now Jupiter and Pluto are starting to make aspects, even though they're not tight. We are now moving to where we have to ascend higher. We have to come into more, we have to ascend now. We have to make big choices. And this weekend, it's going to become very clear now of what your desires are, what your wants are, the connections you have to leave, the things that have to die. This is Scorpio. Things have to end. Things have to transform. Now, doing it gracefully is where Jupiter's at, but unfortunately, with this Mars square Uranus, anything can happen. Unpredictable things. Lives that you were not ready to let go of must be let go. Lives that, or attachments, or things that you know, that you need to re-identify with come up now. Remember, Mars conjuncted Pluto and then squared Uranus 2 years ago in November. It was November 9th through about the 20th of 2014. That was a very hard time. There was so much Scorpio happening, and Saturn was in Scorpio, and there was a lot of intense energy. It was, I think, really hard for people to handle. And it was ironic that actually the North Node was in Libra, exactly in the place where this dark moon is going to happen, where it's squaring. And so it's interesting that if we look at everything, you got to remember that the South Node is also conjuncting Neptune. We can't deceive our own self. We're going to have to wake up and see where we need to ascend, where we need to break through, where we need to go to make our life the life we want, the peace we want. Sometimes you're going to have to leave situations that aren't bringing you peace. Sometimes you're going to have to leave situations that just are not getting you where you need to go. The good part of this is there's massive doors opening in partnerships, new ones. There's massive doors opening up in new opportunities, but you got to make the tough choices first to get there. And this week, that's what it's all about. You might not have all the answers until this weekend, but what's interesting is Thursday, Friday is a big test of the past ending, of connections having to be kind of let go of, and it's not going to be that simple. I hate to be honest with you. And being tough is going to be a big aspect. When you have the Sun in Scorpio, ruled by Pluto and Mars, with Mars and Pluto in very powerful aspects, making powerful aspects to Uranus of ascension, to reach heaven, you've got to make a tough choice to reach heaven in your life. I'm sorry, heaven is not just going to fall in your lap by sitting there and doing the Libra thing and just hoping that it's just going to show up. It's not going to happen. And especially with being misguided with your own delusions of like, oh, I should stay in this because it's good for me, or blah, 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 blah. It's like, whatever the situation might be. It's all to this point, folks. Look at where Venus and Saturn are conjuncting in your own chart. That's going to be a very powerful understanding of the relationship, project, and creation aspects of big change and big decisions that need to be made. 2, look at where Mars and Uranus are squaring, and where were you 2 years ago from right now, and what was it that you had to ascend with and break through then? It's different now. It's in Sagittarius. It's in really opening doors. Then it was just like exposing parts of yourself maybe you didn't realize yet. I hate to be very honest with people, but this is going to be a very harsh and intense week until the new moon. Once the new moon hits by Sunday, pow, we come into Monday and Tuesday, and it looks real nice. We got a trine to Neptune, and it's going to give you, even though South Node's here, it's going to be very honest and be very sensitive still. So this is a sensitive week where you got to be tough. You're going to have to make tough decisions. Things are going to come out of left field, but you know what? At the end of the day, this is about ascending to a higher life, ascending to a better place, to where you can get the life that you truly want instead of sitting, and I ended last week's Uncut with sitting in a life that you fucking hate. You know, you realize that this week, this is it. I have to step into this now because I'm in this life that I'm pretty much not liking. And what are the things of why? What are the attachments to why? You're in attachments that you might not even realize that are the cause of why you're not happy, of why things are not going anywhere. If your career's not going anywhere, look at a relationship. Look at your location. Look at your identity. If it's friends that aren't working, look at your self-worth. If you feel worthy of those kind of people, look at, if you've even made commitments to things or passions to things that would have those friends. Look at how astrology works. I don't want to give all away with this. I do want to give away all the secrets of astrology, but if you know astrology, start looking in these areas. But you're going to have to make massive change now. It's here, and don't waste this. I'm going to end it with this. Do not waste this, because right now, the way that the planets are lined up, with Mars in Capricorn, with the Sun in Scorpio, with all this stuff, it's harsh. Mars, Kim Jong-un, the 2nd or 4th or 25th or 27,000th junior to the 9th, he is a Capricorn, or he's either a Scorpio, no, I think he's a Capricorn with a Scorpio rising, okay? He is a harsh mofo, okay? That energy is not easy, okay? It's tough. But you know what? That guy gets shit done. I mean, I'm not promoting North Korean, or I'm not promoting that guy, so everybody don't freak out on that. But all I'm saying is, spiritually speaking, you got to do tough things. You got to do some intense things in your life. You got to make big, powerful change, and you got to do it. You can't just sit around and hope for it to happen. And that's what this is. And you know what? I said don't waste this time, because when Mars leaves Capricorn, gosh, that extra edge, that extra thing to go, because once we step into the rest of this year to finish off 2016, the energy kind of weakens a little bit, just to be honest with you. once we come into Sagittarius, because we enter into Saturn zone, where it's much more slower and kind of building. And it's in Sagittarius, which is a mutable sign. And then we come into Capricorn, which I think will be kind of an interesting time, but Mars is going to be going through Pisces then, and it's going to be a little bit weaker. And then once we go into the Mars energy of Aries and stuff, you got to realize then it's going to be Venus retrograde time. So to be honest with you, this is it. These next 2 weeks are crazy. No irony that the election's happening in 2 weeks, right when Mars is at 29-degree Capricorn. I've done plenty of shows about that if you want to watch about that. But anyway, coming to you from beautiful Southern California on the water, and I want to say thank you so much for watching me. Make sure that you share this video so you can win that free reading with me, and I hope that you get on going. And especially with Mars Chiron, if things feel at a loss, you can't break yourself out by making a tough choice, because that loss is only to make a gain. Think about that. Your loss is only to make a gain right now. Thanks so much for all the support. Make sure you get my app, theleokingapp.com, and I will see you all next week on the next Uncut.